Excel World begins in a future that seems to be highly developed and has very advanced technology. Every school student at that time had a device called a Neuralinker attached to their neck and connected directly to their brain. Neuralinker allows users to control their personal computers using their minds wirelessly. At the school, a male student named Haruyuki has a short and fat body. Due to his physical appearance, Arita is often bullied and insulted by his classmates. Every day he is forced to give his money and has to buy food for the thugs at his school. Unfortunately, all the bullying experienced by him has never been caught by the school's CCTV coverage, so he cannot report it to the school. For this reason, Arita always spends time alone in the school toilet playing virtual reality games to escape life's painful realities. In the game, he has an avatar as a small pink pig that depicts his physical appearance and personality. But even in the game, he is often lonely and has no friends. That day, as usual, Arita peeked at one of the female players named Kuroyuki Hime. In the real world, Kuroyuki is in the same school as him and is known as one of the most popular students due to her beauty and intelligence. Arita could only look at Kuroyuki from a distance because he felt a little pig like him could never be friends with a beautiful girl like her. The squash area is one of the most frequented places for Arita in the online gaming world. In the squash game, he is the most brilliant player and has the highest score on the leaderboard. While playing, a girl named Kurashima Chiuri appeared and surprised him. Chiuri is the only friend he has in his school, and they have known each other since they were kids. Chiuri finds out about Arita's bullying, so she tries to cheer him up by giving him a sandwich she made herself. However, Arita, who was frustrated, refused Chiuri's gift and threw it until the food was scattered. His actions made her feel very sad and disappointed. To relieve his stress, Arita re-enters the game world to vent his frustration. However, when he was about to play squash, he was surprised by someone who had beaten his playing record. It turned out that the person who had beaten his score was Kuroyuki, the girl Arita had idolized. After that, Kuroyuki asked Arita to meet her at the school cafeteria during lunchtime tomorrow. At first, he couldn't believe that a person as popular as her was willing to be friends with him. But after he came to the cafeteria, it turned out that she had really been waiting for him. After Arita arrived, Kuroyuki immediately plugged in Arita's Neuralinker so that no one else could hear their conversation. Kuroyuki says she wants to post an online game program called Brain Burst on his Neuralinker. In the game, each user will be transported into a dimension known as the Accelerated World. But before Kuroyuki could explain the Acceleration World, some thugs who had been bothering Arita all this time came and asked him to buy them some food. Kuroyuki also took the opportunity to explain what Brain Burst was to Arita. She deliberately provoked the anger of one of the thugs named Araya, which made him become annoyed and intend to beat Arita. Before Araya could land a punch on Arita's face, Kuroyuki immediately asked Arita to activate his burst link. They were suddenly transported to another dimension called the Accelerated World. Within seconds, their avatars appeared. She explained that the Accelerated World was a world inhabited by Brain Burst users known as Burst Linkers. In that dimension, their minds would move 1,000 times faster. That means 1 second in the real world equals 1,000 seconds in the Accelerated World, so the real world looks like it's frozen. Kuroyuki then tells Arita to let Araya beat him because his actions will be caught on the school cafeteria CCTV and he will receive punishment from the school. And her words are true. After he let Araya beat him, the school disciplinary party immediately arrested Araya and his friends to be punished and expelled from school. The next day when Arita left for school, he was suddenly connected to Accelerated World because his burst linker had been activated by the internet network around the school. In the Accelerated World, his avatar turns into a silver metal robot named Silver Crow, and he can also meet other burst linker users. He also told Kuroyuki about it during lunchtime. She then explained that Brain Burst is a virtual reality game connected to the user's location in the real world so that fellow burst linker users will connect with each other. She also explains that Arita's Silver Crow avatar is one of Accelerator World's most powerful and rarest avatars. However, if a user loses a battle, they will lose 1 point of burst point. For any user who has lost all their points, then the system will automatically uninstall the Brain Burst program from their Neuralinker, and their memory of Brain Burst will be erased. After hearing all that, Arita decides to continue fighting to become a burst linker and increase his strength to advance to a higher level. Since that day, he learned a lot about how to fight and effective strategies to win the battle from Kuroyuki. A few days later, Arita met the burst linker, who had previously defeated him and took his points. In this fight, Arita was far superior because he already had knowledge of how to fight from Kuroyuki. Plus, he has an extraordinary talent for playing online games, so he can easily adapt and win the battle. After successfully winning the duel, Kuroyuki immediately praised him for his incredible fighting skills and ingenuity. After that, Kuroyuki and Arita went to have dinner together and chatted with each other. Kuroyuki explained that she was one of the level's 9 players called Black Lotus. She is one of the 7 color kings in the accelerated world who each have one territory and rule the territory. 2 years ago, Kuroyuki had a conflict with another color king and fought with that king. In that fight, she accidentally cut off the leg of the king's avatar so that she was considered a big traitor by the residents of the accelerated world. After that, she asked Arita for help investigating Chiiri because she suspected Chiiri was one of the burst linker users who had attacked her at school. Hearing that, Arita immediately agreed to it. In the afternoon, when Arita was about to go to Chiiri's house, he met Chiiri's boyfriend, Mayuzumi Takumu. Takumu is also Arita and Chiiri's childhood friend, but he attends a different school than them. However, their relationship is still very good, and they still spend a lot of time together. After Arita arrived at Chiiri's house, he then asked her to connect their Neuralink cable. Chiiri was initially shy because connecting the Neuralink cables is usually done by lovers, but she still let him connect their cables. When Arita checks the program in Chiiri's Neuralinker, he finds no brain burst program at all. Instead, he finds a backdoor program that is usually used by other people to tap a person's Neuralinker system. The next day, Arita told Kuroyuki about what he had found in Chiiri's Neuralinker. Hearing that, Kuroyuki concluded that someone had tapped Chiiri's Neuralinker system so they could use her system remotely. That's why Chiiri's coordinates could be detected by her Neuralinker while at school the other day. In the afternoon, when Arita and Kuroyuki were walking together, a car from the other side suddenly got off the track and drove high speed towards them. They immediately activate the burst linker and move to the accelerated world so they can freeze time in the real world. After Arita checks the car, it turns out that the car's driver is Araya, who was expelled from school for bullying him. It seems he wants revenge on Arita for causing him to be expelled from school. Knowing that, Kuroyuki decided to sacrifice herself and save Arita using the power of physical full burst. That power can only be wielded by level 9 brain burst users, and that power will consume 99% of their points. Before doing that, Kuroyuki confessed her feelings to Arita and kissed him. Hearing her confession, he couldn't help but cry because he couldn't do much to save her. After Kuroyuki used the physical full burst ability, Arita finally managed to survive the accident. However, she was injured badly and then rushed to the hospital for surgery. After the operation, the doctor informed Arita that Kuroyuki was in a coma. Hearing that, he decided to wait until she woke up. He also had to take care of her because Kuroyuki's Neuralinker was connected to the internet, and other burst users could attack Kuroyuki's avatar. Kuroyuki's condition is fragile because she has used 99% points to do physical full burst, so if she loses one more point, she will lose her brain burst. Therefore, Arita was determined to protect her all night so he could fight the burst linkers who were about to attack her. The following day, Arita saw Takumu, who came to the hospital to visit Kuroyuki. However, he realized something suspicious about Takumu because he didn't know about Kuroyuki's accident. And Arita's suspicions were proven correct. It turned out that Takumu was the one who had installed the backdoor program on Chiiri's Neuralinker, and he was also the one who had previously attacked Kuroyuki at school. Realizing that Takumu would hurt Kuroyuki, Arita immediately activated Burst Link and challenged him to a duel. Apparently, Takumu was able to have the Brain Burst program from the head of the school's Kendo Club, an acquaintance of one of the Color Kings in the accelerated world. He has been a player in Brain Burst before Arita joined. However, Arita did not feel daunted or afraid to face Takumu. What's more, Takumu has never been able to beat him in playing online video games, so his fighting skills are actually much better than Takumu. The battle between Arita's Silver Crow avatar and Takumu's Cyan Pile avatar begins. Although Takumu's level is much higher than Arita's avatar, his speed of movement makes it difficult for Takumu to beat him. However, Takumu managed to change that condition with his ultimate power. With one last hit, he can make Silver Crow lose one of its arms and drain almost all of Arita's XP power. Arita, who felt cornered, suddenly remembered Kuroyuki's advice which states that strength does not always determine victory in a battle. A few seconds later, his avatar begins to evolve and has a pair of metal wings that allow the Silver Crow to fly high. Many players in Accelerated World seemed amazed by the Silver Crow's wings because, so far, there had never been an avatar that could fly. The battle between the Silver Crow and Cyan Pile resumed. With the ability to fly and the ultimate power of the Silver Crow, Arita managed to get Takumu into a corner and give up. He pleads with Arita to forgive him and not take all his burst points. Arita also agreed to this on the condition that he must admit all his mistakes to Chiiri and join Kuroyuki's Nega Nebulous clan. After the fight ended, Arita saw Kuroyuki's avatar suddenly appear in the accelerated world. That means now Kuroyuki has come out of the coma and recovered. The next day, Arita told Kuroyuki about everything that had happened between him and Takumu yesterday. He also says that Takumu has agreed to join the Nega Nobulus clan to help them in their next fight. A few days later, Arita and Chiiri are surprised by Takumu's arrival at their school. Turns out, Takumu decided to transfer to the same school as Kuroyuki so he could take care of her. He did all of this because Kuroyuki had now become a master for him. Then when Arita returns to his apartment, suddenly a cute girl appears in his room. At first, the girl claimed to be his cousin, who was deliberately left by her parents because they were on an official trip out of town. However, after Arita saw the Neuralinker mark on the girl's neck, he immediately realized that the girl was actually a Burstlinker user in disguise. And his guess proved right. The girl was a Burstlinker user with an avatar named Scarlet Rain. Scarlet Rain is the king of the red color in the second generation accelerated world and has ranged attack abilities. In addition, Scarlet Rain also has huge armor and very formidable combat power. She could easily defeat Arita's Silver Crow avatar with that much power. She then forces Arita to introduce her to Kuroyuki. The next day, Arita immediately told Kuroyuki about yesterday's incident. Hearing his explanation, she agreed to meet with Scarlet Rain and listened to her request. They decided to meet at Arita's apartment at 4 p.m. tomorrow. The next day, Arita also brought Kuroyuki to his apartment. Scarlet Rain had been waiting for Kuroyuki's arrival while playing Arita's video game. After that, she introduced her real name to them. The girl named Kozuki Unico apparently accidentally met them to ask for their help destroying the armor of Catastrophic belonging to a Burstlinker user named Chrome Disaster. Chrome Disaster used to be the strongest Burstlinker that appeared in the early days of the accelerated world. To stop the massacre and brutality of Chrome Disaster, high-level Burstlinkers must work together to defeat him. And before the destruction of Chrome Disaster, he left his metal armor in the accelerated world to possess other Burstlinker users and turn them into cold-blooded killers. And it has happened up to 4 times across generations. After that, Unico explains that a member of her clan named Cherry Rook has been possessed by the disaster armor and has massacred members of the other clan. Therefore, she intends to use the power of Judgment Blow to kill Cherry Rook. Judgment Blow itself is a killer move that can only be done by the master or leader of a clan. However, Unico couldn't beat Cherry Rook alone because his mobility was very high. That was why she contacted Arita and Kuroyuki. With the flying power of the Silver Crow, they could defeat Cherry Rock more easily. Hearing that, Kuroyuki agreed to help her defeat the Chrome Disaster. The next day, Chiiri, who was jealous of the closeness between Arita and Kuroyuki in the Brain Burst game, finally asked them to install the Brain Burst program on her Neuralinker. Kuroyuki also asks Takumu to be Chiiri's Brain Burst parent because each parent can only copy their Brain Burst program to one Burstlinker child. Brain Burst parent is the person who installs the Brain Burst program on other people who will become new Burstlinker users. Upon learning that, Arita felt deeply moved that Kuroyuki used the only chance she had to connect with him. He also promised that he would never betray her. The next day, Arita and the others immediately went on a mission to defeat Cherry Rook. They also entered the unlimited neutral field area in the accelerated world. Arita didn't seem familiar with the area because the area could only be entered by Burstlinker users level 4 or above. In that area, every fight has no time limit, so they will continue to fight until one side declares defeat. They immediately went to look for Cherry Rook's whereabouts using Silver Crow's flying ability. However, on the way, they were attacked by a Yellow King named Yellow Radio. As it turned out, the one who had hidden the disaster armor and given it to Cherry Rook was Yellow Radio. Yellow Radio wants Unico, the leader of the Red Legion clan, to kill her own member. If she is not willing to kill Cherry Rook, then she will be hunted and killed by other Burstlinkers. All of that was planned by Yellow Radio to be able to kill one of the Color Kings so that he could advance to level 10. After realizing this was just a trap, Arita advised Unico to log out of Brain Burst. However, they couldn't do that because they had to be at the leave point spot to log out of the unlimited neutral field. They were forced to face Yellow Radio and his troops to get out of the accelerated world. Before the fight started, Yellow Radio purposely knocked Black Lotus unconscious so they could defeat Arita's troops more easily. After that, Yellow Radio's troops immediately bombarded Arita's troops with cannon fire. Takumu and Unico will try to withstand Yellow Radio troops' attack, while Arita will try to bring Black Lotus to the leave point spot. But after seeing Takumu and Unico's struggle, Arita decides to join their fight to defeat Yellow Radio's troops. Unfortunately, he had been restrained by the power of an electric current from one of Yellow Radio's troops and couldn't move his body at all. Arita, who was in despair, shouted loudly to wake up Black Lotus. Luckily, Black Lotus came back to her senses and immediately fought to defeat Yellow Radio and his troops. The battle between them was fierce, and just as Yellow Radio was about to make the ultimate attack, his body was suddenly stabbed by Chrome Disaster's sword, which currently possessed Cherry Rook. Black Lotus also tried to fight against Cherry Rook, who had become stronger due to the power of Chrome Disaster's disaster armor. Arita and Unico also helped Black Lotus to fight against Cherry Rook. When Cherry Rook was cornered, he decided to leave the battle area and head for the leave point spot. Fortunately, Arita managed to catch up to him with the Silver Crow's flying ability. After successfully catching Cherry Rook, Silver Crow issued his ultimate power to defeat him. With the overwhelming power of the Silver Crow, Arita managed to defeat Cherry Rook and destroy Chrome Disaster's disaster armor. After that, Unico also uses the Judgment Blow skill to kill Cherry Rook. Even though she feels hard because he is her best friend in real life, she is forced to do that to free her best friend. Now the mission to defeat Chrome Disaster has been completed. Before Arita and the others logged out of Accelerated World, they checked the inventory list of their respective items to ensure that the disaster armor had been completely destroyed. After the disaster armor was confirmed to be destroyed, they immediately returned to the real world via leave points. But just as Arita was walking towards leave point, he accidentally heard a strange whisper from his mind. As it turned out, a seed of disaster armor was accidentally embedded in his Silver Crow armor. A few days later, Takumu installed the Brain Burst program on Chihiri's Neuralinker. In the Accelerated World, Chihiri has an avatar named Lime Bell with a very rare power in the Accelerated World, namely the power of healing. After several semesters, the new school year finally began, and the school again accepted many new students. Among the new students, Arita suspects that one of the male students named Noomi Seiji is a Burstlinker user who often cheats. However, he still couldn't prove it because his name couldn't detect the presence of Noomi's avatar name in the Accelerated World. Therefore, Arita and Takumu plan to investigate and discover Noomi's true identity. The next day, Arita and Kuroyuki go on a date at a cafe to spend some time together before she leaves to take a vacation tour organized by the school. Before Kuroyuki left, Arita had ordered her to send her photos during the holidays. Moreover, she will be going on vacation for a few weeks, and he will definitely miss her a lot. Then while in his room, Arita gets a message from Takumu in the form of a photo related to Noomi. He finds out that one of the senior students from their school is Noomi's older brother. A few days later, Arita gets a message from Noomi to meet in the garden behind the school building alone. And his guess turned out to be right. Noomi is a Burstlinker user who has been doing a lot of cheating to get what he wants. He even knows Arita's identity as a Burstlinker user with an avatar called Silver Crow. In that meeting, Noomi deliberately challenges Arita to a one-on-one fight in the Accelerated World so he can steal Arita's burst points. The battle between them begins. At first, Arita seemed superior in the fight, but just as he was about to issue the final attack, he was suddenly trapped by Noomi's ultimate power. Noomi has the ultimate power to steal the opponent's skills and abilities. With that ability, Noomi immediately stole the wings that belonged to the Silver Crow permanently, and Arita lost the battle. Before he left, he warned Arita not to tell Takumu and Kuroyuki about this incident. Chihiri and Arita could only cry because they couldn't do anything to make things better. Even so, Arita remains determined to increase his power to defeat Noomi. When he tries to add points in Accelerated World, he accidentally meets Ash Roller, whom he once defeated. Ash Roller looks surprised that Arita's Silver Crow didn't have wings anymore. Ash Roller, who sympathizes, decides to help Arita by introducing him to a legendary Burstlinker named Sky Raker. Sky Raker tells him that the actual flying ability possessed by Silver Crow does not come from Silver Crow's metal wings but from the strong will deep in his heart. Sky then explains that every Burstlinker has a true hidden power that can only emerge if the user has strong willpower. That hidden power is called the power of the incarnate system. At first, Arita still didn't believe in Sky Raker, but after she said she was a former friend of Black Lotus, he began to believe in her. From that day on, he began studying and training hard to activate the incarnate system of the Sky Raker. And with Arita's hard work for days, he finally managed to activate the power of his incarnate system. After the training period is over, Sky Raker lends him a weapon called the Gale Thruster, which he can use to fly at very high speeds. She also asked him to meet in the real world before giving the weapon to him. On the next day, Arita finally met the owner of Sky Raker in the real world named Fuko Kusaki. She is a beautiful girl who has lost her legs and has to use a prosthetic. He also understands the reason why Fuko is so obsessed with the power to be able to fly high. On the other hand, Takumu finds out that Noomi had stolen Arita's wings. Therefore, he and Arita also work together to defeat Noomi in a royal battle. With the power of Silver Crow's incarnate system, Arita manages to corner Noomi's avatar named Dust Taker. However, when he was about to make the ultimate attack on the Dust Taker, Chihiro suddenly appeared with her healing power and returned the Dust Taker to its original state. Arita and Takumu were shocked by Chihiro's betrayal. Takumu, who thought that Noomi had threatened Chihiro and forced her to help him, became very upset. What Noomi had done had sparked anger within Takumu, so he immediately launched consecutive attacks at Noomi. Unfortunately, that rash act actually made him suffer a crushing defeat until his avatar was split into several pieces. Seeing Noomi despise Takumu, Arita becomes very angry and intends to kill him. Arita's desire to finish him off seems to have awakened the seed of the catastrophic iron armor previously embedded in the Silver Crow armor. Arita became uncontrollable and was enveloped in a blood-red evil aura. He immediately attacks Noomi mercilessly until he starts to get cornered. However, just as he was about to finish off Noomi, they suddenly transferred to the real world because their battle time had run out. After that, Arita and Takumu went to meet Chihiro and asked the reason why she betrayed them. However, Chihiro admits that she did all that of her own will because Noomi had promised to give her some burst points if she was willing to help him. In the evening, Takumu and Arita again discuss finding a way to defeat Noomi. He suggests to Takumu that he learns to activate the incarnation system that can maximize the power of the cyan pile. Initially, Takumu wanted to ask Haruyuki to help teach him about the incarnation system, but Arita prevented him because he didn't want to involve Haruyuki in this matter. Then Arita remembered Scarlet Rain, one of the 7 color kings in the accelerated world. He was sure that every color king in the accelerated world would know about the power of the incarnation system, so he intends to ask her help to teach Takumu to activate the incarnation system. A few days later, Arita and Takumu meet with Unico in a secret room in Unico's cake shop. She is also willing to help them because they had previously helped her in the catastrophic armor incident. That day, Unico and Takumu began training to activate the incarnation system on Takumu's avatar. Meanwhile, Arita will try to investigate Noomi's ability, whose name is not tracked on the matching list. He will do an investigation with Unico's subordinates named Blood Leopard. Leopard is also the girl who will become the heir to the throne of the Red King of the accelerated world. That day, Leopard invites Arita to meet the matchmaker, who manages all duel fights in the accelerated world. Through information obtained from Matchmaker, there is a young man who does not appear on the matching list like Noomi named Rust Jigsaw. They immediately hunted down Rust Jigsaw's presence in the accelerated world by luring him into a duel. When they find Rust Jigsaw, Arita and Leopard work together to defeat him. With Leopard's fast movement abilities, they finally defeated Rust Jigsaw. After that, Arita immediately returns to the real world to find a man who has the avatar of Rust Jigsaw. Unfortunately, he loses track of the man when a servant girl promotes her cupcake. In the evening, Takumu informs Arita that he has successfully activated the cyan pile incarnation system. He also told Takumu about the results of the investigation he had done with Leopard. He hopes that Matchmaker can track Rust Jigsaw and discover his real identity. However, until the next day, Arita still had not received any news from the Matchmaker. He decides to investigate on his own and find out how Noomi could not be detected on the matching list. After searching the various types of devices that appeared before the Neuralinker, Arita finds that a device called the brain implant chip has the same function as the Neuralinker. Arita believes that Noomi has used 2 types of Neuralinker devices to prevent his name from being detected in the matching list. And the next day, after he confirmed his theory to Noomi directly, it turned out that all of his predictions were correct. Arita then asks Noomi to fight fairly using the burstlinker connected in Neuralinker. Hearing his challenge, Noomi happily agreed to it. Noomi even invited him to fight in the unlimited neutral field and risked all their points. Not only that, Noomi, who is very arrogant with his power, he told Arita to teach Takumu in the fight. That meant Noomi would be fighting 2 people at once. On the night before the fight took place, Chihiro came to Arita's house and begged so she could be allowed to participate in the fight at the unlimited neutral field. It turns out that Chihiro has decided to betray Noomi and chooses to join Arita and Takumu. Takumu also believed her words, and Arita also agreed. After that, the 3 of them set off for the unlimited neutral field together. Arriving at the battle area, Noomi immediately gave them a sudden death duel card. All points of the Burstlinker users who will fight will be collected in the card, and only the battle winner will get the points. That means everyone who loses that battle will automatically lose all their burst points and be expelled from the accelerated world. The battle between Silver Crow and Cyan Pile against the Dust Taker had finally begun. Just as the Silver Crow issued its first attack, suddenly, a black panel appeared and restrained this body. It turned out that Noomi had cheated by asking the Black Vice for help to ambush the Silver Crow. With Silver Crow immobile, the Dust Taker could get rid of him first. The battle between Dust-Taker and Cyan Pile was very fierce, but he seemed superior to Dust-Taker even though both of them had activated the power of their incarnation system. He could even corner a Dust-Taker and cut off one of the Dust-Taker's arms. However, Dust-Taker uses a cunning method by capturing Lime Bell and threatening Takumu to give up the fight. Takumu, who couldn't bear to see Lime Bell being tortured in front of him, decided to let go of his weapon and surrender to Naomi. Naomi immediately attacked Takumu by cutting off Cyan Pile's arms. Seeing his best friends being tortured by Naomi, Arita becomes very angry and frustrated because he can't do anything. When Arita began to despair and almost gave up, he suddenly remembered Kuroyuki's face, making his spirit rise again. Silver Crow managed to escape from the Black Vice trap and immediately attacked the Dust-Taker. However, all of Silver Crow's energy had been absorbed by Black Vice's previous trap, so even Dust-Takers could easily defeat Silver Crow. Luckily, just as the Dust-Taker was about to kill the Silver Crow, Black Lotus suddenly appeared and saved them. Apparently, Chiiri had previously told Kuroyuki about the fight that Arita was going to do, so Kuroyuki immediately left Tokyo from Okinawa via the accelerated world dimension. After her arrival, Arita's fighting spirit rose again. He then fought with all his power to defeat the Dust-Taker. Meanwhile, Kuroyuki will defeat Black Vice with her sword power. Silver Crow used the Gale Thruster power previously given by Sky Raker to counter the flying power of the Dust-Taker. With the combined power of the Gale Thruster and the abilities of the Silver Crow's incarnation system, Arita finally managed to defeat the Dust-Taker. In his last moment, Naomi tries to ask Black Vice for help to save him. However, Black Vice just walked away and left him alone. He desperately tries to beg the Silver Crow to forgive him. However, Silver Crow immediately killed the Dust-Taker with his last attack, and Naomi was automatically expelled from the accelerated world. Arita and the others can finally complete their mission to defeat the Dust-Takers. The next day, Arita and Kuroyuki go on a date and spend time together at Arita's house. On that occasion, she immediately hugged him and apologized for not being able to accompany him in difficult times. She also promised to continue to be beside and accompany him. This anime teaches us to keep fighting and trying to overcome all the difficulties that exist.